Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I am here with my co-hosts Josh and Ethan, and this is week nine. Week nine dream lineups. We're going to go through a little bit of news here, and then we're going to go on to our big questions. So, guys, big news this week. Big news.
Big
Trade
news
deadline.
that
Trade deadline. Multiple trades were made. Fantasy wise, there were a couple. It was mainly defensive players. But I know as a
I
Vikings fan, I was excited about the Josh Dobbs trade. That
I
brought a little bit more life. I don't
feel like
think it's a big,
excited
I
is
don't think it's
a
huge.
very strong
I
word.
okay, I don't think it was a huge trade, but I think it means the Vikings are choosing not to just tank the rest of this season against my wishes, but I'm all
Honestly,
right
I
with
think
it.
trading for him is
yeah
tanking.
no,
I don't think
Ryan
that's
wrote a
tanking.
strongly worded letter. It said to
Strongly
Viking
worded
staff,
email.
please, yeah, please tank.
It's to
No,
show Goodell that they're not tanking, but they're still tanking.
Yeah.
I
I think they are,
well,
but I don't necessarily like think they're full on tanking because
well,
they're wanting JJ to come back next week earlier than everybody was predicting. So I'm thinking they're actually gonna try to at least make a playoff run. I don't think they're
so
expecting a lot out of it, but to make a
sorry.
playoff run at least.
Honestly, here's my thought on the Josh Dobbs trade. However you think of him, the fact that they went out and got him is actually, I think it's more culture shifting than anything. And I think that's what I would feel most encouraged about if I was in Ryan's position, because usually the Zimmer days, if something goes down, and even before then, Zimmer days, then someone even before there, it's just, okay, all right, well, year's over, call it a day. But at least with KOC, there's a certain confidence by going, no, these things happen. Let's go reload. Let's make it work. So I think if anything, especially with Dobbs, we're going to see how good of a coach KOC is about to be.
Yeah,
Largely because it's all going to be on him. Like Kirk is not there. Like Kirk can maybe like go and tell Dobbs, hey, look for this, look for that, but Dobbs is not Kirk. And because of that, and the fact that this shows that Jefferson's coming back, I'm actually really thrilled that we're seeing this never say die kind of attitude from the Vikings, because that's only going to be good things from here on forward.
Yeah.
for sure. And
Also
you
Heineken.
know, yeah,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
go. I mean,
and oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
let's go. Taylor Heineke, as
Yeah,
of this recording, has been announced as the starter going up against the Minnesota Vikings.
Because of the
And
variables. Lots
I
of
mean,
lots of variables. There's variables here, variables there, lots of uh, you know, very important variables that you need to understand. As
I
our
say,
Smith said 10 times when he was
I
asked about
think Ethan, I think you said it perfectly though in our last episode, our midseason re-rank. And it's simply of the fact that Heineke looks so much more comfortable in the offense.
it. Yeah.
And because of that, I think the move just had to be made now. Now,
I think Rid could be the dude later, but not now.
yeah, no, I think for Ritter, it's since there is only a third round investment made into Ritter, and especially when we could potentially have first round quarterbacks next year, I think Ritter, even as an Atlanta Falcon, is kind of done. So I think
Potentially.
you can firmly plant Atlanta as a team looking for a QB next year.
Oh yeah,
I
I
think
think a threat for like Penix or Nix.
uh, I man, Michael Penix
good
is
news.
probably going to win the Heisman, but I personally like him because he has a better deep ball than Bo Nix, in my opinion. And this is a very, very, very early QB scouting report on next year's draft class. I actually have Bo Nix a lot lower than a lot of people at the moment, largely because I don't think he throws an anticipation very well. I think he's very good at throwing it to a spot. but like to them, not like, okay, I know in this route you're going to be right over here. I haven't really seen him do that yet very well. And but I also don't think the Oregon offense allows him to do that. But that's something that we will get into more as we
In the
look
offseason.
forward into that year. Yeah, in the offseason. But as far as switching of the guards, Ethan, actually this brings up one of your big questions, and let's actually start with the Oakland Raiders. I mean, not the Oakland Raiders. I wish they were in Oakland, but the Las
So,
Vegas Raiders.
yeah, I think we need to talk about things that didn't happen. I think they were arguably more important than things that did happen. So yeah, like one of my questions is, what can we expect from these new look Raiders? I know there's a video about Hunter Renfrow basically skipping into the training facility today, looking incredibly happy that the GM and head coach were fired. So I don't know, is this Raiders culture going to change? Because a lot of people were expecting Adams and potentially Jacobs to not be there anymore.
So here's the problem, and this is what this. So based on the reports we were reading from people, this explains why they just didn't make a move. Because it sounds like GM and Josh McDaniels were basically like, no, we're going to right the ship, we're going to make this happen, and Mark Davis just said enough's enough. And because literally I was up at midnight when this dropped, and it was, hey, deuces, they're gone, offensive coordinator gone, Antonio Pierce is the interim head coach, which also means that I think they're spending like $50 million towards fired coaches right now, which is kind of hilarious.
Heck yeah.
Because Gruden was a year and a half ago. So I think here's the problem. I don't know what you do with Jacobs or Devontae Adams, because I could see them going, I am done with this year. I am out, because they're already benched Jimmy. They're going with rookie Aiden O'Connell. So what's the point of putting stress on your body like that, unless either A, you're just going to play it out because you're going for a contract, or B, if you can force yourself out like Odell did a few years ago. And I think for Devontae, that might actually be a potential solution. Which then with Josh Jacobs, that's also where it gets interesting, because the Raiders were this close to trading him, according to reports. So I think it puts Adams and Jacobs in flux. As far as fantasy this year, and I would even say fantasy next year, like at this point, they don't even matter until they're gone from Las Vegas.
Yeah, and then it really depends on who they go to.
Yeah, well, and I want to kind of chain on to that. It was a rumor going around today that one of the teams that was going after Devontae Adams and put in a request to trade for him was the Jets. They actually put in a trade for Devontae Adams and Mike Evans. So they put in a trade for both of them to see who would take, and they were rejected on both ends. So, I mean, are they trying to stack their wide receiving room for, the return of Aaron Rodgers eventually? I know he's trying to come back at the end of this year. He wants to play this. He wants to play this season. Yeah, it's ayahuasca. That's pretty much what it, is fueling him right now. But, he wants to come back by the end of the season. Could they be, just buying time for a playoff run and putting the weapons in place for him? So,
my wholehearted opinion here is, if the Jets pulled off Devontae Adams, you would have seen a spending spree from the Chiefs and the Ravens, personally.
Yeah.
Just because even though Zach Wilson's there, and obviously we can go on and on about Zach Wilson in general, but the fact of the matter is that if that team is that loaded, and for how loaded we've been talking about the AFC is in general, that would have been the the shot across the bow of, okay, this is for real now. Like we saw what the NFC did, like Chase Young to the 49ers, Montez Sweat to the Bears. But I think, the crazy thing is, it wasn't so. Devontae to Jets was one. There was another. I thought Devontae to Bills was also another one that was mentioned.
Oh, I never heard that.
But I would have to look that up, because I might be wrong on that. Also, Hunter Renfrow to the Saints was also mentioned. which that one doesn't make sense. But
It's
uh,
whatever. It's
but
the
that
Saints are
but
just trying to
Yeah.
get their name out there at this point.
so and then let's not even get to that point. Josh Jacobs to Ravens was also almost a done deal. So that's at least three, and who knows how many more offers that weren't talked about, or at least reported or leaked. That's at least three offers that we know about, and the Raiders just stood pat.
Yeah.
And now, because I mean, you fire your head coach and GM, you've benched Jimmy G. Like, are we really about to watch them suffer for 9 weeks? Like, I can personally see both Jacobs and Devontae Adams saying, "Oh, I have injuries. I'm done." And then everyone else is just playing for
I think that's the
future
wait and
team.
see. Like, you don't know if they're going to play for a contract. You don't know if they're just going to, load manage and take off the season, but that's what we'll find out.
I
The
mean,
last
I don't foresee them. I don't foresee them just benching themselves and getting out of there. They might not put 100% effort, but I don't see them just benching themselves. So,
Yeah. Well, the last part of my big question was kind of rounding off our talk on Heineke, on just expectations going forward. This is kind of his debut playing the Vikes. I think personally it's a good matchup. Not having London, I think, would hurt, but he didn't have him for basically the entire second half and lit up Tennessee. So I don't know how much that matters. Um, but what are your guys' expectations for Taylor Heineke?
Honestly, it's going to be a lot like Tannehill. Mistake-free football. Take what the defense gives you, but we're winning with the running game. I just think Heineke is a bit more effective throwing the ball. He's going to hit a lot more of the timing routes over the middle to then send one over top. And I think they're willing to go. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he does have good timing. And whereas I think Ritter was the exact opposite, like a good arm, bad timing. And a lot of that is with his throwing motion. But I think it's going to be a lot more. I wouldn't say dink and dunk because I think everyone's going to be crowding the line of scrimmage anyway. But I do think you're going to see a lot more passes, like just hitting over the middle, just because they can do that now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally excited for him. I think he has very strong QB2 value. Um, I think he can put up top 10 numbers. He's obviously not going to finish in the top 10, being 8 weeks into the season. But I think to round off this year, kind of going into the second half, he's going to be a strong QB. I don't think he's going to lose the job. I think he's going to be pretty solid. He's going to take the Falcons to the playoffs.
I think that's why they made the move too. Was because, especially when you have New Orleans sputtering, and when you have Carolina being Carolina, and then you have Tampa Bay
And you already
starting
know
great
that
but now
we're better
sputtering.
than Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and then you have the NFC West that you have to fight for. And the Rams are kind of screwed with Matthew Stafford's injury, and then the NFC
Oh yeah,
East.
it's Seattle and San Fran, and San Fran's not that good.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so that's where if I'm Atlanta, I'm like, okay, there's a shot. And I'm looking at Atlanta's schedule right now. You have Minnesota, Arizona, two good matchups, but then you really have the Jets in Week 13, and that's your last hard team. And I think they said, you know what, half the season's a good enough experiment. We know what Ritter is, but we also know what Heineke is, and
Who can win us
think
these last set of games?
Yeah, as far as a fantasy perspective,
painful.
I will be shocked if he actually is lighting things up. But I definitely think things can be lined up for him to where it goes, oh, hey, he's casually getting a 20, 22 points. He's going to be a really good streamer because his playoff schedule, to be honest with you, is fantastic. Carolina, Indy, and Chicago.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable how good.
Yeah, and I think right now Atlanta really only needs a game manager. That's what they need. They need somebody that'll protect the ball
for the last 2 years.
They're just gonna lean on the run, lean on Bijan, lean on their
Except
other
for when you
running
said
backs
Hurdy.
and just let it go and just run the ball down people's throats, and then every once in a while toss a pass up. But they just need a game manager, and I think Heineke is a good game manager for them.
And the last part is, Josh, will you let the Church's win streak continue?
For anyone who doesn't know, Ethan started the year 0-5 and has since won, what, 3 in a row? Am I correct in saying that, Ethan?
I'm 3 straight so far.
Yeah, 3 straight. His team has finally woken up. We knew this would come, and the only answer I have to tell you, Ethan, is may the fantasy gods ever be in your favor.
That means no.
I will not disrespect the fantasy gods. How they have determined that I must have in my redraft league, where I've lost 7 players this year for extended periods of time, and I am 1-7. So,
But what if this is your opportunity? Like, what if you had one chance, you know, to generate some good karma?
well, Ethan,
Would you let it slip?
I don't know about letting it slip, but if I am influenced, if I feel divine intervention happening upon me, I think things will be just let up for the fantasy gods to decide.
All right, that means no. Ryan, what
Before
is
we get to Ryan's big question, I brought up through over the cap on Devontae Adams' contract. If he's going to leave Las Vegas, he is going to have to restructure the heck out of it. Next year's dead cap, how about 40 million if he gets cut next year or traded?
no.
Yeah, but he has no guaranteed money in 25 and 26, so he's going to have to restructure it to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm them, I'm tanking and grabbing a top QB for the Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are actually. I think
Let him
Caleb
hop in on
Williams said
Marcus.
he would go to the. You mean Drake May?
Drake May, excuse me.
Marcus May is a great safety. I think he's playing for the Jets. Not Jets. Saints still.
I confuse people all the time.
But Ryan, your big question.
My big question is,
Why do I suck?
will Ethan win this league this year?
If Brian and I have anything to say
That
about
is a
it.
big no. All right.
It is a big no.
Look, I didn't say anything.
You know,
Ryan has sealed
the
his
gravity
fate.
of what happens if I beat Josh this week. It would actually be.
Man.
Hey, look,
okay,
Ethan.
All
just
right.
in our league alone, we watched Ryan's dad lose 4 in a row to win 14 in a row.
Yes, he did.
Anything is possible.
It can happen. It can happen. All right. So, my week 9 big question. As a Gibbs owner, well, let me preface this. So, in one of my leagues, I am a Gibbs owner. And another guy in the league who's the Monty owner, he put him on the trade block today. And I want to pose this question as the Gibbs owner. Do I go for Monty as an insurance like handcuff for Gibbs, or do I leave him alone?
Depends on how much he costs. But I'm also kind of at the point where these last 2 weeks, Gibbs was that good.
First, we were. I want to get each of us to give ourselves a pat on the back and a clap, because we said you were going to figure out who Gibbs was by this week.
Yep.
And here we are.
And here we are, and to where Gibbs tier 1 not so crazy anymore.
Was it 37 points or something like that?
39.
39. Yeah, it was something crazy. But
I will pull up because
that man is a beast.
Yeah, which also another pat on the back. 70% snap share, 70%, 26 for 152, and then 5 of 5 for 37.
Yeah.
So
he's that good. Like, I think he's shown that he's better than Monty and deserves at least 60% of the snaps.
Well,
See,
even that.
what I'm
Oh,
concerned with. Oh, sorry, Josh.
no,
You
no,
want to go?
go for it, Ryan. Go for it. My mistake.
I just what I'm concerned with is the goal line work because he's going to lose that to Monty.
Can I counter that?
No, go
Neither of
ahead.
the two touchdowns Gibbs has been in the red zone. It has
Yep,
all been from outside of the red zone.
they've all been from.
So,
Yeah,
if anything, this has shown that Gibbs is a home run threat from anywhere. It's actually almost better that the fact is that he didn't score from the red zone. Because then imagine if that instead of that was a 27-yard touchdown, that 27
yeah,
yard touchdown was a 7-yard touchdown. And then now
yeah,
you're going to feel really bad going, dang it, that's going to be Monty's touchdown when he gets back. But
Yeah,
now you can go, oh, he can score from anywhere, and the vision is what's much better.
oh
I
yeah, yeah.
I
I
think
gotta say that.
here's my problem with Monty though. I think if you're trading for him now, the price is too high, and on top of that, that means you are going all in on the Detroit running game, which is going to screw you in the league championship
Yes,
yeah, because it's Dallas.
definitely.
because it's
Yeah,
Dallas, and so that's where it goes. I don't know if I want to put all my eggs in one basket. Like for example, if we look at let's go back to Atlanta for example. If Gibbs and Monty had Carolina, Indy, and Chicago, by all means do it. Like that's the move to make. Which actually that makes Bijan a very this makes if you want to go all in and get Bijan, not a
yeah.
bad idea. Um,
Well, see,
but Monty,
oh, yeah.
it's a little tough right now.
I'll bring up my other question I had on Bijan later. Later, we'll do that
Okay,
at the end of the podcast.
so Ryan, like personally, in the league that you have Gibbs in, that you're looking to get Monty, what would you throw at Monty for Monty? Actually at
I
David.
would
I'm
not.
sorry,
I
but
would not pay for me. I probably wouldn't pay more than a first, or not a first. Sorry, a third, maybe a second.
but
I don't
second,
even
I
know if
feel like
I'd
would have
go
to
up
be
to
next
second.
year. I
Yeah,
feel like maybe future second, but this year's third would be the
yeah,
highest when it comes to this year. The only reason I would overpay for Monty is if I was dealing with massive running back issues. Like if I had Kyron, if I had
yeah.
Achane. Wow, this sounds a lot like my redraft team. But if I had those guys and they were doing good, then got knocked out, that's where Monty is
Yeah,
interested. But there's one thing that I think Ethan's right saying Gibbs is going to get the 60% workload. It would be gross negligence if they go with Monty and go, here's 30 carries again. I
yeah,
don't think that's going to happen because that's where it is something I kind of live by, where it's one's a fluke, two is a coincidence, three is a pattern.
yeah,
We're at two with Monty right now, as far as injuries is concerned. If you overwork him, it could be three and it could be longer. And that's where I do think we're going to be looking at a 55-45 split. But if Monty gets all the red zone work, that's fine because Gibbs has shown he can
yeah,
score from outside that.
Well, and also
yeah,
Gibbs is going to get all the passing work.
yeah.
That's
And
true.
you give it to Monty on the goal line and on third and short, and that's it.
Yeah, and let's look at. Hold on, I'm going to pull up Gibbs real quick. So we're looking at Gibbs. Chargers, terrible pass defense. Chicago, just bad defense. Green Bay, bad defense. New Orleans, you're able to score on them now. And then Chicago again. Denver's defense is just bad. Then Minnesota's defense kind of getting better. Then you have your the Dallas
Well, I gotta say,
conundrum, and then Minnesota.
go ahead. Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty good lineup for him. The rest of the season. But yeah, I'm okay. Going to the Minnesota defense. I'm sorry, I just looked at their stats. Do you know they're the number four defense in our league?
I'm not surprised.
The number four after going, having like 3 and 6 points like
Well,
the
they really
first
weren't
three
allowing
weeks.
a lot of points. They weren't
Yeah.
allowing points, a lot of yards. They were just finding ways to lose games. Like they weren't a
Yeah,
bad.
Well,
Which,
Well,
but
the first
that's
3 weeks,
regression to the
yeah, they
mean
were,
from last year.
yeah.
Like,
Well,
look at
and
the
they've really shaped up. Like I'd say the last 3 weeks, against Chicago, San Fran, and Green Bay, they've been the most impressive squad on the Minnesota Vikings right now.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like they have been very impressive.
24 on 24 on Chicago, 11 on San Francisco, and Green Bay is 15. And
But
then
see,
if
like
you just
that's
look
oh,
at
go ahead.
now, they're not a good playoff defense because you get Cincy, Detroit, Green Bay. Well, Green Bay would be
Yeah,
pretty nice. I think so. Honestly, if you want to just stash them later on in the year,
yeah.
just because you know they're going to get Green Bay later on, not a bad idea.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
especially on top of that, they didn't trade Daniil Hunter. They said
Well,
we're
I'd
going all
say,
in this year
yeah, yeah, and I'd say hold on to them, play them up until the playoffs, and then swap
and
them out and wait
just wait till
until
the
the
championship.
championship. Because
So
I mean, that's a solid lineup. They got Atlanta. That'll cause a little, cause
They
some problems. New
wait,
Orleans
they
has been having issues on offense. Denver also has been having issues. Chicago's been having issues. Las Vegas, all the way up until the playoffs, you have a pretty good, lineup
yeah.
of teams.
Yeah, so Ryan, just looking at it, Minnesota is actually defense number they are the seventh ranked defense. Right now, it really your top three defenses is Dallas,
Oh,
Buffalo, surprisingly Buffalo, but Buffalo I think is going to fall off very quickly,
so
and then Pittsburgh is three, then Seattle, Jacksonville, Baltimore, then the Vikings.
so to finish off
interesting.
on Gibbs versus Monty though, I mean Monty's had what, two good games, and that was against Green Bay and Carolina. I
Yeah,
think after what Gibbs has shown, what the fan base wants, which is what the GM is going to hear, what everybody wants, which is Gibbs, because I'm the kid is just
yeah.
better. Like, not that Monty's a bad player, but Gibbs is just better. I don't see how
Yeah,
they don't
Well,
give
and
him the.
he's got the electricity. He's got the energy. I think if they don't give him more touches, there's going to be riots in Detroit.
well,
I
it's going to be
guarantee it.
gross negligence because like look at their receiving core. Marvin Jones left, unfortunately for personal reasons, so we hope he's doing okay. But then you have Sun God, Jameson Williams, and Josh Reynolds. You just picked up Donovan Peoples Jones, which I think definitely does say more about Jameson Williams than anything else. Uh, and largely is because I think he needs more reps, and getting that 4 game suspension this year probably was the worst thing that can happen for him.
Yeah,
But I mean, you're potentially looking at Gibbs is going to have to be a receiver. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing like we're looking at like 21 personnel a lot of the time. So that means Laporta on the field, but Monty and Gibbs on the field at the same time
yeah,
because you do have that flexibility with Gibbs.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we mostly answered your question to Josh,
yeah.
which is who are we afraid of at the deadline?
Well, I mean, post deadline, I mean, I want to bring up a couple teams. I wasn't able to kind of really write it down. Oh, not again. I did it. Las Vegas.
So
I
yeah,
think we're
the
concerned about
Raiders
Devontae.
and Monty is
Yeah.
who we have.
Monty. I also want to bring up the Commanders because it's not often where you see both their starting edge players get traded in the same deadline. And I know they couldn't pay both. I was surprised they traded both, however. So what does that say about the team? What are we thinking of Sam Howell as a dynasty perspective? That's kind of where I'm intrigued with.
I mean, Sam looks good. Like if
Yeah,
I was able to get Sam Howell, especially in like a super flex league, like I think you're very happy.
I
yeah,
mean, I think as far as this year's concerned, perfect option because he is going to be playing from behind over and over and over and over again, which also
yeah,
means Jahan Dotson might be a very interesting play as well, since Curtis Samuel's out. However, I am afraid of this team blowing it up per se, um, just because of the fact that they traded their edges we already know Ron Rivera is probably out the door. And what's happening here is basically my issue. Also bring up the Chargers. While the Chargers stood pat, I think we've clearly seen that they just don't have the horses to compete. So what happens next year is, like you say, I'm going to keep saying it, but there is a non-zero chance the Chargers just don't just blow it up this year. And then for the Saints, they were looking at Hunter Renfrow. So what does that mean about Olave? Because and we've clearly seen Olave there's a severe disconnect between him and Derek Carr.
I don't know. I also think he has looked very frustrated just in terms of body language, sideline, some stuff that he said. But I think it's more about Michael Thomas because other than Olave, they don't have anyone. Like it's been Kamara and Olave, and that's the Saints offense. And it's been more
Yeah,
Kamara than Olave.
that's true. That's true. I didn't begin to consider Michael Thomas as far as like, oh, that might be the possibility. But
Because Shaheed is good, and then Olave has been serviceable.
well,
Yeah.
and this is where I'm also. I feel like here's how they've been playing it: Olave, Shaheed go deep. Kamara has everything else,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I just don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of I mean, obviously, it sounds like Ravens are trying to move on from J.K. Dobbins, and I
Glass
would not be
King.
surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he's
but
made of glass, so
yeah, he is a glass cannon, unfortunately.
But I mean, that means
But
they're probably looking at running back in this draft, and this draft has got some dudes.
yeah, probably Corum, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not
The
like how
Michigan running
stacked
back.
they are at QB and wide receiver, but they still got
yeah.
a couple of running backs.
Yeah, for sure. But is there a dynasty, just to kind of add on to my big question, is there a dynasty player you are terrified about just from seeing it from this year?
Mm.
Terrified. Define terrified. Like
Okay,
terrified to go against them, or
no, terrified as in you had high expectations for them and they are not meeting it, and their team knows it too.
I feel
oh,
like JSN a little bit, um, like to a degree, because
oh.
Jay
he,
said I'm giving a pass because of the wrist.
Well,
yeah, but I'm still worried about him. Maybe not terrified, but I'm worried about JSN.
I'm not. The last 2 weeks, he's kind of looked good. I mean, he scored 2 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they
But
just need to lock it up.
I think they're yeah. Well, Lockett's in his way. That's the issue. Is they've got two very good veteran wide receivers that are kind of taking his position, and he needs one of them to get out of the way. Now, Lockett, he might be on the back end of his career, but it it shows JSN has taken more and more reps the last like couple of weeks, and they
And
might be working him in this year and getting him used to an NFL system. So I'm not super worried about him. Now, if he doesn't play the like week 1 of next year, I would be very concerned.
I will say, just looking at JSN's like snap percentage since the bye week. So Cincy was 72%, Arizona was 63%, Cleveland was 66%. So his three highest snap percentage games have been post bye. So that should only mean good things. Um, so he's not what I was. I mean, I'll go back on that team. I think Kenneth Walker does scare me a little bit because Charbonnet has been pretty involved. And I just think of the massive what if, like kind of like imagine if Kenneth Walker got hurt instead of Brees Hall, to where like a major knee injury. And I don't want to wish that on anybody, but I'm very terrified. It's like, what would Seattle do if Kenneth Walker experienced that? And I don't want to know the answer because I'm pretty sure the answer would be it'd be Charbonnet and they're just going to run away with it. So I
Yeah.
guess my confidence in Kenneth Walker has definitely gone downhill,
Yeah.
personally. And I would say, I mean, the past 2 weeks, I'm kind of concerned about Pickens. largely because I think they've shown Deontay is the guy. So I would almost be shocked if he didn't get re-signed next year. But Pickens is clearly number two in this offense. So any expectations I had for him have just been completely thrown out the window. He's still scoring, crazy enough, showing he can be a wide receiver one, crazy enough. But do the Steelers see him that way? I feel like is the big question that we are all trying to figure out.
It'll be AJ
Yeah.
Brown 2.0, and with that, I think it's Dream Lineups time.
I think it is Dream Lineups time.
Yes,
So
it is.
we haven't done it in about a couple weeks, but in week 7, Brian, just off the back of Taylor's boyfriend and Kermit the Frog, have one Dream Lineups last week. Literally,
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
Pre bye week, 1 week.
Yeah,
7.
yeah. So week 7, I kid you not, I think Mahomes and Travis Kelce combined for 80 points. So no one was beating that. But Ryan, you won our last Dream Lineup. Who do you got again?
All right. So I'm going with Mr. Trusty
We all are.
Patrick
Yeah, we all are.
Mahomes versus Miami. I just think it's going to be a high scoring game.
We all
It's
have
either it is going to either go one way or the other. It's either going to be a high scoring game or it's going to be mainly a defensive game. And I mean, there's been other like high scoring games or what we thought was going to be high scoring games be absolutely just knockdown, drag out defensive fights.
Okay, so I'm concerned about one thing with Mahomes, and it didn't hit me till now. This is the Germany game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me this man flew with the flu?
Yep.
To Germany.
Yep.
That might be a recipe for disaster if he's not recovered from it.
Yeah, if he plays like he did last week, yeah.
Yeah, granted, he's getting that Eastern Hemisphere medicine, which is a lot better, but I will not go into that. But
Dude lost to the Broncos. He lost to the Broncos. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes as well because I think he'll actually be recovered and ready to go as well. Ryan, let's head back to you. Who do you have at running back?
All right, my RB1 is Breece Hall against LAC. He's going to be used in the passing game, and that's my main boon for him. So that's why I have him there.
I wanted to put Breece, but I'm going to go with Kamara versus Chicago.
That is smart.
I did too. Even though you have literally this week against me, I've already rested on the fact that he's going to tap them.
And have like 13 catches for 20 yards or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So Ethan and I are on the same. Let's go. Ryan again. Who is your RB2?
All right. This is my biggest question mark.
Oh God, we can't do this.
Derrick Henry versus Pitt. He's a running back 2 for me now. Because of all the question marks with him, he's a running back 2.
You might have to get realigned depending on how the next few weeks go.
We'll see. I think with Will Levis back there, I think it's more of a there's more of a threat.
Okay, can we pause Dream Lineups for 1 second?
Yep.
Holy cow! That Levis debut. I was not expecting.
I mean, he came.
You know what happened last week? Hang on. You're gonna want to hear the story. You know what happened last week to Will Levis?
What?
His ex-girlfriend left him.
Oh dang!
So right before he gets his NFL start, his girlfriend leaves him, and then he throws for 4 touchdowns.
I mean, hey, dude,
coincidence?
And just showed everybody what he was. So I mean, he looked good out there, and I think he could continue to start there.
I think he was possessed by the spirit of Warren Moon in the Oilers uniforms.
Must have been.
Because it's just the confidence that he like. I don't know if y'all saw the NFL films. Like you know usually how they have all their videos like inside the NFL. Mm-hmm. So the one thing that I found very interesting was they had Jeffrey Simmons mic'd up for the game. The first touchdown, which let's all say it, clear
Pass interference.
OPI. Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
clear offensive pass interference that was egregiously not called. But then
I
he threw
told you to
three
go
more to
back and
kind of
watch
make
it.
up for that.
You thought I was playing, dude. I told you
No,
to
I saw no.
watch it.
The first one was egregious. It was
Yeah.
completely egregious. But besides that, Jeffrey Simmons when he yelled out something, I told y'all he can be a QB, and I went, oh, if the players are seeing it,
Yeah.
that's a whole different level of confidence to where I could see Tennessee going, all right, I know we just gave up Kevin Byard. That wasn't great. We thought we were dead in the water, but Levis, let's see where this goes because Levis is. I don't care if he throws for 4 picks next against Pittsburgh. I think they're just going to roll with him for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep. I think so too. I mean, with his performance, he showed that he can play at a
Yeah.
high level. It's just whether he plays consistently at a high level.
And look
So-
how much like Levis's like impact helped Derrick Henry just to bring him back to the dream
Yeah.
lineup, to where 22
sure.
carries, 100 yards, and like that is going to save the longevity of Derrick Henry for just a little bit longer.
Yep. And it'll stave off Tajay Sharp. But yeah, so I have Derrick Henry. Y'all, Josh, who do you have?
I got Ramondre versus the Commanders. What better time to take advantage of a defense that just traded two of their edge players away? Which, honest question, who are the two edge players for Washington now?
Nobody and nobody's brother.
Yep.
Yep.
Literally. Ethan, who do
They're
you
the
have
Water
for
Boys.
running back two?
Yeah, they're the Water Boys now.
It
That's
might be.
essentially
It might be
who's
the
there.
hot dog vendor by this point.
I mean, heck, they might have even thrown in some cheerleaders. So
That would be funny. Give
we
me
see
a
some
random
pom poms out
cheerleader.
there.
Let me put her on the edge.
So
You know
I'm looking at it.
I have Josh Jacobs. I don't know. I want to give him a shot.
Wait. As your RB2?
Yes,
my-
because I am happy he said this because Swift does not
Okay.
count.
Oh yeah, yep. All right, so you got Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, because
as
I have
your
to
RB2.
replace Swift. So yeah, I'm
because
Jacobs.
Swifty's a
So James Smith Williams and Casey Toohill are your new starting defensive ends for the Washington Commanders.
I'm sorry, who? Exactly.
Casey Toohill. Which
Oh no, we
Yeah.
put Mostert RB1 too, didn't we?
yes, Mozart is RB1.
Yeah.
That's all I deserve as Ethan realizes.
Give me Mixon.
this
I'm taking Mixon.
great pick.
Ooh,
you know what?
all right.
I applaud
all right.
you. I applaud you for that, E.
I like it.
That is
I
a
like it.
great pick. Yeah, that's something we need to talk about. Yes, I understand the Bills are the number 2 ranked defense in fantasy. I expect that to get obliterated. They lost Tre'Davious White. They've lost Matt Milano. They've lost a lot on that
Yeah.
defense.
I'm gonna get Mixie with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your RB2 yeah.
Well, and
yeah,
now
okay.
you know I have Josh Jacobs too, but
Okay,
Well,
yeah. We'll just put Josh Jacobs in your flex.
yeah.
All right.
We'll
Okay. So we've all done RB2.
Going to wide receiver 1.
1. Mine is kind of questionable, but I think he's on a hot streak right now, and I don't think it stops here.
You better ride it.
AJ Brown versus Dallas.
You better ride the wave there, honestly.
I'm
Yeah.
riding the
literally
wave.
that was a better phrase, Josh.
Yeah, I said it and immediately regretted it.
You
And that's
look-
all
you
I'm
look-
going to say about
Look
it.
2 grown men in the eyes and said, "Let me ride it."
Oh my God.
Well,
Okay.
I didn't say me, but you.
Those are the words you said.
I'm not. I'm
Those
not
are
going
the
to
words
explain
you
it.
said.
Not going to explain it.
AJ Brown. I mean, only explain it to God and your wife. I'm taking Jamar Chase for my wide receiver 1.
I have Jamar Chase as well.
Yeah, same thing. Buffalo
Good
passed.
luck to y'all. We're both
Hey,
we're both choosing wide receivers that are going up
It's
against
questionable.
solid defenses.
I'm
So,
taking Joe Shiesty at this point.
all
hey,
right,
I
all
mean,
right.
they looked really good against San Francisco.
Yeah.
Let's go to wide receiver 2. Ryan, there is no way on God's green earth I am going to let you have that one.
Yeah.
Why? He's
No.
not in our wide receiver one.
Is he not?
He's not.
Wait, hold on. I am ready
He
to
is
make an
not in our
executive
wide
order.
receiver one.
Can we look? Can we replace Devontae Adams with CeeDee Lamb? Can we make? Can we?
Yes.
Are we allowed?
Yes. Yes.
Can we retroactively do this?
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys are horrible.
What are we really going to keep Devontae Adams after one catch for 11 yards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not
No.
really.
No,
Yep.
no.
Executive decision.
Yeah.
CD.
No, Ryan, you pick one. Right? No, you're going
All
to pick a
right,
different.
fine,
CeeDee
fine.
Lamb
I'm
does
gonna
not
need
count.
some time, so give me
Okay.
time.
Well, I will give you my second receiver, and I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson versus the Chargers.
Oh, see, I just saw his name. I'm gonna go with Garrett Wilson too.
All
Sorry,
right,
I just looked it up. I saw his name and I was like, yep, that's it.
no,
Give me
that
Waddle.
is fair.
Give
Waddle,
me
Waddle.
Waddle.
Hey, he's been doing really good the last couple of weeks to where I know I might have been a little crazy for putting him up so high in our preseason rankings, but hey, it's finally coming alive.
He's flex worthy. And then we all know who we have at tight end one, Travis
Yeah,
Kelce.
if you're not,
Yeah.
Kelsey has an incredible matchup this week. Dolphins are not good against tight ends. You better be spamming Kelsey.
Yeah.
Let's go on the flexes. I'll start first. Give me Josh Downs versus Carolina.
Oh God.
So I have for mine, I'm picking someone who's potentially injured. So I'll be sliding in Josh Downs if Drake London is injured for Sunday. If that could be,
I will allow that. I will allow that because I think it's London's going to be a game time decision.
yeah.
And I just picked someone else just because I didn't know, but I definitely
Also-
think London is a really good pickup.
Also, for the sake of clarity, if London does play, that's who I'm riding with,
Mhm.
even if Downs does outperform him.
Yeah. Okay, I want
Just
to
as
issue
a
a correction
full
real
clarity.
quick. I want to issue a correction. So I already had Garrett Wilson as my flex. So
Okay.
I'm putting Waddle as my wide receiver too.
Okay.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
I know we've stated like once you
Yeah.
say it, it's in there. But since I already
No,
had
that-
Garrett Wilson in,
Yep.
I think we can allow that.
okay. All right. So where are we at now? Sorry, I've been
So
a little
you
distracted
said
trying to
Garrett
find
Wilson.
something.
Flex two.
I said Josh Downs.
Okay.
Ethan went with London / Josh Downs. So Ethan, say your last flex.
Oh, we already went over it, Jacobs.
Oh, God. Wait, but wasn't Jacobs your RB2?
No, Mixon's my RB2.
Mixing with your. Yep, you're right. My bad.
Okay.
My bad. I knew I
Okay.
messed something up.
So I chose Rashad White as my
Same here.
flex too. So yeah. I
Hey,
think with the
he-
passing work that he's been getting, I think he's a very, very viable flex candidate.
He's quietly been really good. He is currently the running back 22 on the year, but his snap percentage, he has not gone below 70.
Yeah.
And since the bye has been at 79, 75, 82. I mean, really the big thing that makes it now, Tampa's own line is in massive disarray but against Buffalo, he averaged 4 yards a carry, but it's just the passing work is so good. It is literally version 2 of Kamara as far as how much passing work he's been getting.
Yeah.
And that, gentleman, I believe, is our Week 8 recap, trade deadline recap, and our Week 9 preview. Thank you
Well,
again for everyone.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
We still got one more thing to do.
Brian, you are
All right.
so right. I totally forgot about this.
Okay. So this last little segment, I wanted to kind of start something. We don't need to be doing it every week, but if there's any trades in any of our leagues that we think are interesting or we have questions about,
Trade review.
Just trade review.
Yeah.
We're
So,
throwing the red flags
Um,
in
I
trades.
had I had a request by one of my coworkers that I'm in a work league with. Um, he asked me to ask y'all what you think. Um, all
Terrible.
right, so it's a terrible trade.
It is. It is honestly.
He is trying to pick up Laporta, and
Okay.
he has Kittle and all of his picks. So we go to round five. He is a top end
Hmm.
contender. What pick and Kittle should he give for Laporta?
Oh, all right. Y'all gonna hate me for saying this. I think he should give up a 25 first and Kittle.
Dang, I'm that actually is shocking to me.
Here's why. Here's why.
I don't know. I don't think you can. I don't think you can give that up if you have it.
So
Laporta?
No, you're 25
Oh,
first
the
and
25
Kittle.
first.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Laporta.
yeah.
See, I wouldn't give up that much.
You'll accept it, but I don't know if you can give it.
But here's why though. Kittle is so inconsistent in this offense to where he's going to go for 30 or he's going to go for point 30 at this point. And Laporta, to be honest with you, I am so invested as far as Laporta goes because he should not be doing this as a rookie. Like historically, like this is in completely brand new territory. So at this point, I'm like, if this is the base, barring injury, he could be the next big thing at tight end.
Well,
To
yeah,
where
he's looking Kelsey-esque.
it's so rare though, like to get someone that can be an immediate contributor at the tight end position. To where I almost think you have to overspend because the resources are so scarce. Like if we want to go back to on a really bad take I had Chigo Conko at tight end 4 for the preseason, and look where that ended up. Like it can be a crapshoot if you don't get Kelsey, if you don't get Andrews, if you don't get Hawkinson. Now that I feel confident to say that we can firmly plant our flag with Laporta being the next great tight end. And that is
Yeah.
something in Dynasty I think can stabilize your team for years. To where I think it's almost okay to give up a 25 first. I think if you want to negotiate a 25 second in Kittle is fine. But I think no matter what, like Laporta has to be, like he has to be, like you have to be willing to spend at this point because
Yeah.
there's only one other tight end in the draft, which is this year, which is Brock Bowers, who's being lauded, like heralded as the next great tight end. Besides that, I know I haven't watched everybody yet, but I don't think we're having a tight end prospect to that level for a while. And if that's the case, it's going to be a scramble for who's already in there. So why not just grab Laporta and stabilize the position for at least 4 to 6 years?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from with that. I don't know. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving up a first in any year. So, there was another question he had. Um, he's going for Josh Downs. He has Mike Evans, and he was thinking a third round pick. What do you guys think of that?
Wait, so Evans and the third for
Evans and a
Josh
third
Downs?
for Josh Downs. Or is he
Um,
spending too much?
that's way too much. Like I think you can make an argument. Like if you were to do this trade straight up, that the Josh Downs side should also give a pick because Mike Evans has been playing that good.
Yeah.
And while Downs is good, I have some major dynasty reservations about him. Largely at the
Okay.
fact that it's Gardner Minshew throwing him the ball and not Anthony Richardson. The one thing Downs
Look at the
has
beginning of
going
the
for
year
him,
when Pittman was everything and the only thing for Richardson.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. But let me look at. I'm going to try and look at Josh Downs. But literally, if we're looking at his stats didn't rise until Minshew started. which makes me worried for next year. But on the other hand, I don't think they're going to run the ball with Anthony Richardson as much as they want next year.
Mhm.
Largely because it's
going
going,
to be huge next year.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if you're wanting Josh Downs and you want to get younger and you have Mike Evans, I don't think you need the third round pick. I think you actually might be able to ask for a third to fifth round pick plus Downs for Mike Evans.
Gotcha.
But at the same
Okay.
time, if you really think he's gonna be that good, if you really believe in Josh Downs,
Yeah.
yeah, pay it and just secure it. Because it goes
Yeah,
back to
okay.
our
that
trade
too.
with me and you, Josh, when I got ETN, because I knew
Yep.
what ETN was gonna be, and I was like, I'm willing to sacrifice Lamar to get something that I know is gonna be that good.
And, I mean, I'll take it to the other side. I sacrificed ETN because I knew what Lamar could do. So,
Yeah.
like, as much as you want to hold the assets and you want to try and win every trade as possible, eventually you have to kind of understand your mindset of
Yeah.
You just have to believe in something.
is this the clear and obvious upgrade you believe it to be? Because if it's
Yeah.
not, don't stop the trade right now. There's no reason to trade. But if you think that Josh Downs, especially within the rest of the season and next year, is going to be better than Mike Evans, by all means, strike while the iron's hot.
I do think I would
Mhm.
trade Mike Evans for Josh Downs, though.
Yeah, but
I would.
you think giving
Yeah.
the third is too much, right?
Yeah, I think giving a third is too much. If it were me, I'd probably try and do it straight up. I don't know that I would ask for a pick because I'd just try and get the deal done because that's a good dude that I can have for the rest of this year and then, kind of
Yeah.
hope and pray that it continues on to next year. But yeah, I'd
That's fair.
probably
Yeah.
Evans straight
Well,
up. If
okay.
you're a die Downs, I would pay the third round pick too.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
fair because I think he's shown. I mean, this wide receiver class. I think JSN is showing improvement. Zay Flowers has already shown some consistent work. But then you also have to add Puka, Josh Downs along that list too. This is becoming a pretty solid group.
And Rashee Rice.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent
Rice,
wide
thank you.
receiver
I knew I was missing one.
class. Okay, I have one more short one. It's kind of going off of the ETN conversation. Bijan Robinson and a 24 first for ETN.
Yeah.
Which side wins?
I would take the ETN side, but if so, all
So,
right.
okay, to give you context, give you a
Okay.
little context.
Okay.
This is a contender
Mhm.
that has ETN. That is somebody sent them a trade. Why put a veil over it? Somebody sent me a trade. I have ETN, and they want to give me Bijan in a 24 first. Now this is another contender that is asking for ETN.
Man, oh man,
I know. Literally, it's been sitting in my trades area of Sleeper for the last 10 days because I can't decide what I want to do.
Okay,
I'd rather have
Ryan,
ETN because here's ETN's schedule, and then I want you to go ahead, Josh. But he has Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and Carolina. Those are very winnable matchups for ETN.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, you're gonna hate me for saying this. I actually think I slightly edge the Bijan first round side. I think if it was a 25 first, I would go ETN, but a 24 first, so you're getting two immediate resources. And while ETN is, I think, clearly running back 2 right now, we all still had Bijan as a top 10 running back. So, and I think with Ritter, we were having serious concerns about what's going to happen with Bijan. But if we truly believe that,
Bijan, yeah.
I think Heineke really raises Bijan's floor. And if that's the case, I think the difference is going to be marginal to where that 24 first is going to look very nice. As say that becomes like an Ekubaka, I believe that's how you say his name, the other Ohio State receiver, or Blake Corum, the Michigan running back, or even another quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's an immediate asset to where also you can throw a 24 first to go get someone from a losing team and immediately grab another player. So I think being able to parlay that first into something else is what makes me slightly lean the Bijan side.
Yeah, and see, I'm going for the ship this year, but
Yeah.
I gotta say, my team is an absolute beast, and I'm I feel like I'm a lock for at least a second round entry into the playoffs. So I I really want to trade away ETN while I can get Bijan and a first for it. That's high value. So I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it.
I would still tell him, give me your like absolute best offer to
Yeah.
see if you can, because anything on top of the first, I
Yeah.
think it's an insta yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Well,
you think it's pretty
yeah.
even right now, you would say, Ethan?
Yeah, I
That's
think
fair. That's
it's
fair.
fairly even.
For a right now. If I was in a rebuild, I would take this in a heartbeat just
Yeah,
because of that first round.
Yeah.
But since I'm contending and ETN is just on fire right now,
and he
it's
still has a good.
hard. Yeah, and he still has a good schedule. Well, I mean, so does Bijan too. But
Yeah. I would
I'm
say
just
Bijan's schedule might
Well,
be a
I'm
little bit
saying you
better.
already know
yeah,
about ETN. Bijan has had
yeah,
some up and down. You know ETN has it.
Yeah.
He has a good schedule.
yeah,
Like,
And he
you know,
has like an 80% snap percentage right now or something
yeah,
right.
insane to
Well,
that
also
point.
here,
yeah,
for example, so after the bye, they have San Fran, but San Fran's proven they will give up points to running backs. Then they have
yeah.
Tennessee. Tennessee is a bad defense. They just caught Atlanta slipping. Then they have Houston. Houston is a bad defense against running backs. Then they have Cincy. Cincy is a bad defense against running backs. Then they have
Mhm.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
who over these past few weeks have shown that they can give up a lot of points to running backs. And same thing with Baltimore. And then Tampa Bay and
Yeah.
Carolina have proven that they aren't as good at defense as we originally thought they were
So
going to be.
the schedule's there for both, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I
100%.
think the first round pick and being able to parlay that into something else is why I would say, okay, you are getting the dip from ETN to Bijan, but with Heineke, how big is that dip even
Yeah.
to begin with? I think if Desmond Ridder was still the quarterback, the ETN side, keep the ETN, keep the church.
Yeah.
But because they made the switch to Heineke, I think
Mhm.
I think it can't be understated like how much Heineke helps Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and
Yeah.
Bijan.
Okay. So with that in mind, I only take a little bit more of your time, okay? With that in mind,
Right?
I'm sorry, I'm really trying to
Sorry.
have you guys help me decide on
I'm
this.
sorry. I'm only going to take a
But
little bit more of your time. But have you ever heard of this life insurance?
have you ever heard of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? No. Um, okay. These are the running backs on my team currently. JT, Gibbs, and Jacobs, other than ETN. And I have an all-star monster squad as my wide receiving core, so I don't have to worry about them filling up my flex. But I just need to fill the two running back spots on my team. So with that in mind, does that change anything?
I mean, move. Okay. I don't think you're going to start Jacobs. I think Gibbs could be an immediate start, and then I think having JT really helps. But then one of those slots is going to be Bijan anyway. So
It's probably going to be Bijan and JT if you make the trade.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Bijan, JT, and then Gibbs in the flex, and that's if you want to go with three running backs.
I don't know. With that running back room, I'd rather have ETN because I don't want to take a dip when, that running back room is basically the running back room I have right now, and it's
Yeah.
kind of up and down.
Yeah.
But ETN
Yeah.
is
Yeah, I think you
And
would
that's
have to
been
have
my
certain.
one saving grace the last couple of weeks is ETN. So
Yeah, I mean, oof.
ETN wins games and
I
Bijan can
think if
at this point.
I think if you want to win for the future, take the Bijan in the first. But if
Yeah,
you are just all in on this year, keep ETN and hold that trade until after the season.
gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah,
All
if you
right.
hold it and
Well,
then as soon as the offseason hits, just go boop.
yeah,
Except,
bro,
That's a
he
big
hasn't canceled it, so
that would
I
be
don't
a
know.
massive win for you, Ryan.
Oh God, I'd feel like such a dick doing that though. God,
oh,
but
no,
we'll
Hey,
see.
that,
hey,
that
We'll
would be
see.
remember
such a
this?
terrible.
Remember
Yeah,
that trade you made
yeah,
in
yeah.
week
Imagine it's
5?
y'all
Yeah.
two for the championship, and then you just plant your championship trophy right in front of him with the trade.
Oh God.
Except
Oh jeez.
Thank you for the
we have just
God.
contribution
heard.
in my future.
Yeah,
That has been the episode.
That is.
Josh, where are
Those are
we?
those are
Where
the
are
yeah.
intrusive thoughts that I have to keep from listening
the
to.
demons?
It's
So
you
let's say,
guys. You guys are the intrusive
Do it.
thoughts.
look,
Do it,
look,
Ryan. You know you
Ethan,
want to.
Ryan. I hope you know that
Oh my
it's not
God.
like me and Ethan are like your angel and demon on your shoulder. We are just like
We're
two
both
demons on the
terrible.
shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
we are. Yeah, we are both
Exactly.
terrible for
Winning
you.
is the only thing that matters around here.
If you ain't first, you last.
Exactly. Shake and bake, Ryan.
Shake and
Yeah.
bake.
So
All
You
right.
want to win or do you want to be the
Well,
first loser?
I will take I will take all of that into consideration. But
yeah.
I mean that's the end of this podcast right now, guys.
If you're not
So
Yep.
first.
thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back next week for our week. What is it? Week 10?
10.
Big 10.
Yeah, week 10. Oh my God. Oh, I can't believe it's already week 10. But we'll be back next week for our week 10 dynasty dream lineups. Oh my God. Sorry, it's a rough day. But we will be back for our dream lineups next week, and along with any news that comes through, and we'll be doing some more of our big questions. Thank you guys for listening, and you can find us on anywhere that you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, any of that. And make
Yeah.
sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Have a good
You can
night.
find all of us at Last Place
Oh, at
FP.
last
And
place FP.
even if, guys, if you have trade ideas and you want to kind of just for us to review them, by all means, send them to us. And we will gladly just go over it. I really like the trade review idea. I think that was a very fun segment to just end the day. So by all means, just like send them to us because now is the perfect time to start trading. And to which there's a couple I want
Yeah,
to kind of
deadline's
throw
coming
out to
up.
you
You have
guys
five
eventually.
weeks. You have
Yep, you
5 weeks to
exactly.
that.
Ethan's
Yeah.
correct. You have 5 weeks to make your move in order to become a champion or not be last place.
I'll
Ethan,
be the first
while they're
loser.
making these trade, why are they making these trade offers? What can they never forget?
Never forget. Sometimes you are right. Sometimes you're right. We'll see you next time.
Oh, yep, we'll see y'all next week.